Hi guys, my name is Shane Cashin, and you are watching Tennis Ninja TV. Aloha everybody guys, again from Hawaii. My name is Shane Cashin, the Tennis Ninja, and thank you for joining us for another Tennis Ninja TV interview. Today guys, I've got a special guest from the island of Maui who is very well known in the coaching community as well as the Hawaii tennis community in general. She's an elite professional coach, guys, for the USPTA at Kapalua and Royal Lahaina. She is the USPTA Hawaii Division president. Guys, I give you Cathy Nicoloff. Thank you for joining
Hello,
me, Cathy.
everybody.
Kathy, what has been
Hey,
going
Shane.
on? Coaching?
Hey,
What does
I'm
coach
just,
do when they're in
let
quarantine?
me, let me tell you this. I'm just so happy to be talking to you because, um, another friendly voice, another very positive guy, talking to my family, talking to my friends. I'm on webinars, continued education, meetings with the USPTA, meetings with the USTA. It's like, um, I walk every day, run every day. Basically, just tried to stay as positive day to day as possible, but also trying to deal with the reality of the situation, which is completely something none of us have ever lived through, and that we're going to continue to live through for for the rest of our. We'll never forget this,
Mm.
and moving forward, it's going to really imprint on how we do things.
I've been keeping up actually with your Instagram posts or your Facebook posts. I've seen the open tournament that was held in your driveway or a friend's driveway,
Isn't
wherever.
that hilarious?
I
That
thought
was
it was cool.
Trish Wilstead and Barb and I. We just couldn't stand it, and so we set up a net, like one of those, just put a strip across of and put some poles up because we couldn't get in to get our nets. I couldn't go back to get my net, and Barb couldn't get hers either. So we're like, okay, well let's just jerry rig a net at the bottom of the driveway. We put cars there to block the low impact balls. And then we made up our own rules about underneath the net versus over the net. Like underneath, you get 2 bounces. Over, you get 1 bounce. If you run off the driveway, and you're running for a shot, you can go ahead and the shot counts. Just it was crazy.
Kathy, I want to ask you about your previous playing experiences, and we just get to know you as Kathy, the tennis player. And
Oh, cool.
you
That's
could share a
nice.
little,
That's nice.
if you could share a little bit about your life as a junior player back in the day, and if you had any other previous playing experience like college or even adult tennis, if you could share that with us, that'd be awesome.
Oh no, thanks. High school tennis. I had so many great friends and so many great associations, and I was ranked in my state. I grew up in New York, and was ranked 4th in the nation in New York after I went through, my high school tennis. I made some great friends during that time in my life, and competed with people from all over the country, and it was a great experience. And then went on to play college ball at Westminster College, which is an East Coast college, Division III. And I played number 2 singles the first year, and then the last 3 years of number 1 singles, and logged a undefeated record, and was inducted to the Hall of Fame. So that was kind of cool. I mean, I've told my juniors so many times, one thing that happened to me as a junior, I'll never forget it, is I lost it on a tennis court. Like, I just got mad at myself. So I took my racket and smashed it.
Hmm.
um, I mean, it took time to break. Like, I hit it on the ground, and then I'd go play, and then I'd hit it again. And eventually it broke. And at the end of the match, even though I won it, my parents took me off that court, and they moved me aside, and they just said, listen, if you ever embarrass yourself, us, and your coach, and anybody else around here that you're not playing this sport. So they took my broken racket, put it in the corner of my room as an example of, you're not playing tennis for 2 weeks, and you're going to look at it. At the time, I thought it was harsh, but I'll never forget it because I never acted up like that again, ever. I went to my coach and talked it out, and she explained how, when somebody walks by, whoever it is, every time you make a line call, every time you perform a certain way in a court, every time you are emotional, whatever, people walking by, other kids younger than you, adults, people are going to have an opinion of that.
Hmm.
And you got to make sure that you're always performing at a high level, not just as a player, but as a person. You got to have your A game, and that A game isn't not just, you know, how you are on a tennis court, it's how you are off the tennis court. It's every part of you. Junior tennis was just a lot of what I consider to be learning experiences that you carry on as an adult. And I can see it in other adults when they act a certain way on court. I can see where there were fundamental things that obviously they never got, and on how to behave. And like, if in doubt, it's out, versus if in doubt, it's in. I was taught if in doubt, it's in. And I pass that on to my kids, because a lot of these kids want to win so bad. And they even look over at their family, and they tend to cheat. And I will call them on it right in front of everybody. And I go, that call is not acceptable. And let me explain why. And this is how we're going to call balls. And they learn right away what is expected of them on my court. And then I turn and make sure that all the parents understand the importance of being of a reputation and having a really good one right out of the gate. I don't care if you're 5, I don't care if you're 65. That's got to happen. So you can tell a lot of stuff has impacted me that way.
So you're from New York. What
Yes.
is your story in terms of coming to Hawaii for tennis?
It's so fluky, because when I got out of school, my parents had set up, because they knew at that time, well, I think he was a congressman or senator, but Jack Kemp. And Jack Kemp was a friend of our family, and he was in Washington, and he knew I wanted to get into broadcasting, and he knew Susan King at the time. And Susan King, her beat at that time for ABC News was to follow the president everywhere. I went there to just become her page. Literally, I was I started with Good Morning America and ended with Nightline with this woman. And I was places, I mean, I was in the Oval Office. I was in, when they do those press briefings, I was there. While this was all going on, I had applied for PBI, for Peter Burwash International. And I was interested in kind of, travel the world, teach tennis, you know, and I thought, that'd be cool. But meanwhile, I'm full on into the political realm. And my next gig was going to be like to be an assistant to a congressman or to a senator, because that was my background, was in college, was pre-law and broadcasting and communication. So I was going a whole different route. And then I got the call from Peter to go to Philadelphia, because they were going to be in that area to interview. And I was like, I can do that. I'm close by. So I took a train. I went over there. And for the whole weekend, I was interviewed. And literally during the weekend, he said, hey, can you fly to Oahu and start training in like a week? And I'm like, oh my God, what? Like, it was the longest weekend of my life, Shane. I'm not going to lie. I really was like, Hawaii, I get to train in Oahu for like 5 or 7 weeks, and then I could go anywhere in the world. And so I'm thinking about it. And now I've got to call my parents up and tell them that I'm about to make a left turn in my life. And they supported me. They were amazing. I thought they were going to be like, are you kidding me? Sure. And they supported me, because they go, you can always go back. You know, if you make this turn and you decide, you know, we have a lot of teachers in our family. So if this is something you really want to do, let's see where it goes, but you can always go back. And I was like, okay. So I didn't go back.
Wow, and that's how it all started. Gosh,
that my friend, is how it all started. Yes.
Could you fill us a little more in what exactly you do at tennis in Maui? I know you are involved with the USPTA, but you also teach at various clubs on the island.
Yeah. So I've worked at various clubs on the island. When I first came to Maui with PBI, like I was in PBI just for a few years, and then I left because I wanted to go off on my own, because I felt like I can run a club. I can do thank you PBI. I learned a lot, but they really had a hold of your life, and that was fine for a few years, and then I needed my life back. So I thanked them for what I learned. I moved on to Maui because I wanted to stay, and they sent me to different clubs. I was in Puerto Rico, I was in the Woodlands in Texas. They were about to send me to Europe. it was a toss up between Europe and Tahiti. And finally I was like, that's great, but I think I just want to be on my own. So I came back to Maui and just kind of threw myself into working at several clubs, and then landed at Wailea and was there as a pro, and then eventually went into head pro and then the director for many years. And the one thing I wanted to do when I became the director, because I'd seen other directors and learned from them of how I wanted to direct and how I absolutely did not want to direct, because everybody has their own style. And I am not a dictator style. I have a different style. I want to bring out the best in everybody around me. I want them to shine. I want to, the club to shine. I want to, it's a team, everything we do is teamwork. I want to make sure that I surround myself with people that potentially even know more than me. It's not about my ego. I know who I am. And I think it's important, if you know who you are and you're going to, and my drive is to be successful. I want to be successful, and I want the people around me to be successful. So why don't I hire people that actually know a little bit more than me in different areas, so that I can learn from them, so I'm never bored, and they can learn from me, and we can do things that are really great for any club together. And that was the key for me, is to bring in the right people. And once that happened, we could develop so many great programs. And for me, I wanted to put Wailea on the map. I wanted them on TV. I wanted to bring in, we brought in the first challenger. Ron Romano handed me the first challenger, things like that. I wanted the facility to win awards. I wanted the people I work with to win awards. I wanted, one of my things was to bring the Bryan Brothers in. I wanted to, I started that. And then from there, was contacted by somebody that's what they did for that was part of what they did for a living, is doing events. So I partnered up with him for a while, for about 10 years. And we brought in, huge names, Matt Spielander, Michael Chang,
Wow.
Lindsay Davenport, Tracy Austin, players off the tour. I'm just naming a few of them. Tom Gullikson, who I adore. And then when I left Wailea, I spun off with him to form our own company together. And I wanted to work with the Bryan Brothers on a doubles camp. And so we've done that. That relationship is just amazing. And we formed AdCourt Advantage with Cynthia Neiman, who's a really good friend of mine out of LA, and she does our marketing, and Gully gets our talent, and I'm operations. I do everything else on the ground. I just think Maui it's a special place. It's an incredibly gorgeous place. And, the fact that I've been able to teach at Wailea for as many years and be the director there and work with so many phenomenal people and pros, and then get to go to the other side and work at two other top resorts like Royal Lahaina with Cynthia and John, and Kapalua with Jason and Nick. And now Jason and Nick are gone, and I'm there by myself, but working with Tim Dietrich and some other, Tracy and the gang over there. And I'm just so, blessed to have these opportunities. But with those opportunities, I want to give back. And I also work with the MDTA. I'm their vice president. So along with being the USPTA president, I'm on the board of the MDTA, and which will segue to our next thing, I think, because we're working so hard right now, all hands on deck, to get tennis back, get it going again on the island.
It's more than a game. It's just such a great vehicle for so many things. Athleticism, cardio, social, life lessons, just, you name it. And the fact that you're just doing almost everything you can to help this sport and be a part of it is just, I think it's the coolest thing, Cathy.
When something like this goes down, like a pandemic, it's like, who your friends are, who to go to. Ron Romano, his staff, Ron and I go way back. He used to be in PBI. We were way, way back. So I've known him for a long time, and he mentored me in a lot of ways. So I've learned a tremendous amount from him, and during this pandemic and everything, and how we all got together on all of our boards, all of the people, getting in touch with our politicians. It's not who you know, okay? It's the relationships you have with those people. That is, it's a huge thing, because everybody goes, oh, it's who you know. It's who you know. I go, no, I mean, I know different pros in the circuit. I know different pros all over the United States teaching pros. You know, political people, you know, different people. I mean, I know politics in the sense that my dad was mayor of my town. I mean, I was saturated with politics from the get-go. That's why I went on to college to study it. And it's nothing that I understand the gamesmanship. I understand how you have to listen to everybody and try to figure out what is the right thing to do. And I also have learned from my dad how not to pressure people into making decisions. You can inform them, like USTA, all of us are informing the governor, all the mayors, the USTA guidelines.
Hmm.
You know, they know, believe me, they know. We have sent out letters. Ron has sent a letter out. I've talked to John Embry last week. I think it was Wednesday. He's sending a letter out to all the sections because all the sections have been talking to him about this letter. We need to get to our politicians. We need to lobby, but in a way that's informative and not pressure. I
Hmm.
don't want a
Sure.
politician. It doesn't work.
It sounds like there's some exciting things for the relaunch of tennis. So guys,
We're
you're up.
getting there. We are getting there. And I wanted to let everybody know that because of relationships, because of people and people knowing other people and having relationships with them, I know that everybody meant well with, you know, let's get a petition, let's do this, let's do that. And I go, they don't, at the political level right now, they don't care about that. What they care about is, what can you tell us? Why
Mm.
should tennis open? Well, we're prepared. Well, how are you prepared? Well, we have guidelines. Well, let's see the guidelines. Well, here are the guidelines. All right, well, then how is each resort, each club, each, you know, whether it's municipal, commercial, whether it's private, whether it's resort, whether it's a park,
Mm.
it's like, what are your guidelines? How are you guys going to open up? What are you going to do? What's the new normal going to look like? So that we can educate them that we are ready. And all we want from them right now is a date. We just want a date so that we can tell everybody, here's the date and everything that you've been working on. This is your phase one of your implementation is right here. And maybe your phase one is we're a private club and we're only going to let private members in for the first phase. Great. And then the next phase for all of us on boards is to let everybody know in our community, like Maui, okay, all the clubs, can you give us your guidelines and can we get this out to the community so the community knows what to expect? All right, Parks and Rec, what are the guidelines? You know, what's going on? And then the MDTA, okay, are we going to have league play? What's going on there? So that's just Maui, but we got to do it on all the islands. And that's why we've been having meetings with all of the, you know, with the with HPTA, USPTA, our boards here locally and nationally to be informed, and then to inform everybody as to what's going on. I can announce this today because I just spoke with Ron Romano. It's looking really good, is the way he put it. And from sources, he's been on the phone with people that are like the governor's assistants. He has talked to politicians at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Wow.
And he feels that everything we're doing, John Embry's letter, Ron's letter went out last week. I sent a letter out that's going out this week to everybody, an email that's going to go out to everybody, informing them of what we've all been doing. It'll be an announcement to all the pros, USPTA. And then John Embry's Monday is his drop date for his email that we're going to get to Ron, who's then going to get it to the governor. So we feel like we're well covered in this area of communicating with politicians, and ultimately it's up to them. But Ron told me today it looked really good that it was going to be earlier than the end of the month. And because they're really pushing hard for beauticians. And we honestly, when I heard Ige say, you know, cutting hair is an intense thing. It's an intense, and I thought, well, if that's intense, then tennis is going to be like, you know, but I go, hairdressers, I got my hair cut, just saying. I actually went to my beautician's home and got it done. So you can do it safely with a mask. the USTA actually has a grant, everyone. If you go on the USTA.Hawaii.com, you're going to find a site, on that site that the USTA's got grant money for clubs to help you guys get back on your feet if you need it, anywhere from $0 to $5,000. So that's another thing that I mentioned in my email that's going to be going out Monday or Tuesday. But highly encourage you to go there, because you can buy balls with that, you can buy carts with that, you can buy whatever you need with that money to help your club. So just saying.
You and I both, we work with an organization called the USPTA, which is the leading organization for coaching tennis around the world right now, and it originated in the United States. Cathy, could you tell us a little bit about the USPTA and how exactly it helps enhance coaches to be able to help the sport of tennis grow, and how maybe someone would maybe want to get involved in it one day?
Good. Thank you. My association from the beginning, I remember when I joined, and this was in the 80s, and Kaz Yamanoa, who's now, he was at Kapalua a long time ago, and now he's at Royal Lahaina, and now I actually get to work with him. He was in PBI. That's where I first met him. But we all, when we were in our 20s, we all studied really hard because we felt it. And this was before, like, I was in PBI at the time, but I wanted to get that USPTA as well, because PBI teaches you a certain way, and I thought it was way ahead of its time back when I learned it, and it made it so much easier to teach people. But George Basio was way back in the day. He was the one that for 2 days we had to go through this. We had to train, we had to do the test. But before I even got there, I decided to, all the people on Maui, I recruited different people I knew, and I said, we all got to do this. This is how much it costs. We're going to go to the Big Island. We're going to get tested. And so I'd have them over to my place, and we would study together. We would go on court and do the on-court together. We'd practice each other with the format of how they wanted us to teach and how many times you needed to say somebody's name. And, it was like, for me, that was a very important thing, because we're certified. Like, golf has PGA, tennis has USPTA, and I could see the doors that the PGA had. So I figured we got to, no matter what, we got to have this certification. And it makes us more valuable. Why would I think that? Because they had access to continued education. They had access to ways, different, the continued education was huge for me at that time. I just wanted, just give me more and more information out there as to how to teach. And it gave me access to people in the field, ideas, and being able to talk to people that knew more than me. And to me, the association is vital, because it was just really, it was in Houston at the time, and it was everywhere in tennis, and it was just getting more and more powerful. And I could see the direction of it, and I wanted to be a part of that growing, this group of people, and the growth of a company that I thought was really going to take us to new heights.
It's an established group here in Hawaii, and I could even sense the difference between the coaches there and, a coach maybe really anywhere else. Not to knock down anywhere else, but just
no, I think
how much they know and how they organize lessons and teach kids. Just, there's a lot to offer.
There are a lot of pros out there that are part of the USPTR and USPTA, and great. I mean, at one time we wanted to be, we wanted to be one organization. It just didn't work out. And wherever you guys get your education, be certified in both. But do I think one is substantially better than the other? For yes, and that would be the USPTA. But that's because of of reasons I personally hold. I am not going to be the one telling you not to become a member of USPTR, but I'm definitely going to encourage you and tell you the differences between the two and why one would help your career, I feel, more than another. But that would just be coming from my opinion. So, but I do think we do have more to offer, and I think we're a lot more organized. And it shows. I mean, I don't have to say it. It shows. We have our own journey, and we have our own direction, and we're pursuing that. And that's to make every single pro under under USPTA better people, better administrators on and off court, and be able to mentor some really cool new people. And I just find our initiatives, it just lines up with where I'm coming from in my own journey. And because I'm so excited about it, you can bet that anybody I come into contact with is going to know who I am and who I represent.
But I have actually had some talks with, just people a little bit younger than me, and they realize how fun coaching is, and they even want to maybe have a career in it. Cathy, what exactly would a young person like that, how would they get involved with coaching tennis, and particularly the USPTA?
I think very good question, first of all, Shane. I think the first thing you want to do is you want to go through a fellow pro. You want to go through someone like me or someone like you and go, hey, coach, it's something I'd like to pursue. And I'm like, that's great. Then I would get you in touch with the USPTA and start you on that journey, because there is a new portal now as to how to do that. And really, you need to be with a mentor. So if I have a student that really wants that, and I've decided that, okay, I'm comfortable with this person, I'm gonna be their mentor, I'm gonna help them through the process, I'm gonna educate them, and they're gonna take their courses, because there's many hours of courses that you have to take now, but you need to be mentored. That's the key to getting through the program. As senior pros, if you will, I feel that it's very important to mentor. I've mentored several coaches and helped them get tested and run them through, the tests on the court and off the court, and stroke analysis, you name it. I've done it all. But it's like, and I've been a tester, so I know what it's like. It's very simple to go online, to go to our site and go and check it out and see if you really want to do this. And that would be the first thing I do. And then we can talk it out, like ask me questions. What do you think? And if they need me to make some calls, I can do that. It's not a problem. But I think the bottom line is you just got to get it started and start getting your credits. And you have to have a mentor. You got to choose somebody that you would really, as a junior player, feel like you have a really good relationship with and you trust.
Coaching can be a humble beginning at times, and it can, if you follow your passions and you have resources and mentors to help you out, what you can do is pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, in PBI, it was great. They taught me how to, we did wheelchair tennis. We taught the deaf. At one point I was working with somebody that was blind, and that was a very interesting experience as well. And and then working with special needs kids, and I've got one now that I work with at Kapalua, and how precious slowing down for somebody that has a special need and getting more creative than you ever thought you could be on how to teach something very, in your mind, you're thinking this is a very simple process, but it isn't for this person. And then how to go almost outside yourself to figure out how can I make this experience really exciting for this child or adult and meaningful. I almost tear up sometimes because I'm just like, this is just, an amazing thing. And I think recently I was asked to work with a group with autism, and that's going to be my next thing. I have not done that. So I think that as pros, I've head up the junior program now at Royal Lahaina, and I haven't head up a junior program in a while because I was a director, so I had many other pros doing that. But now I've come full circle and I'm doing it again. Literally the first time a little guy came up to me and says, "Hey, coach," and just said, "Hey, coach." And I just kind of went, I had my glasses on. I just went, oh my God, I'm this is a 5-year-old and I'm a coach and this is really happening, and it's amazing the impact you have on these little kids, and of all types of people, all types of ways of life, where they've come from. Being a teacher is the best thing I've ever done. It's the USPTA and offers us all so many opportunities to grow as people and coaches. And for me, continued education is everything. I want to be teaching the latest and greatest I want to teach it the simplest way I possibly can. Footwork, like starting with, you know, how you set up for shots, how you move to a shot, how you get out of a shot, you know, how you can, the different stances, the different ways to hit a ball, the way you set up everything, how your eyes, you know, how it all begins with tracking, you know, there's so much to it. And all these people that present information to us, and then we present information to our students every day, and then we become presenters to other people, like maybe at a convention.
Sure.
It's very exciting to take in and continue your education and learn all the time from other people. And then to take a drill, even like, let's say, Shane, you showed me a drill and I'd look at it and go, I like that drill. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to jump and do a couple other like segues off that drill. That's how I think. I mean, I used to think that most people did what I did in my head. Whereas if I listen to a song on the radio, and I'm playing out a rock video in my head every single time. Every time I hear a song, I have a video going off in my head of how I think that would play out in some sort of a video, right? And where where that video setting even was. And that's pretty much what I do when I see a drill. I'll look at it and go, okay, how could I modify that for like a 5-year-old? And then maybe I could take that to an adult, but then I would modify that this way. I love that drill though. And make sure I tell the person I love that drill, why I love that drill, and how I can build on that drill. So, you know, you're giving credit where credit's due. And yet I love stealing drills. I don't have a problem with it.
Tennis on Oahu is, you know, the center of attention for this sport in the state of Hawaii. But Maui has its special places to play. Where are those highlights, Cathy? If someone new is coming to your island and they want to hit some balls.
Definitely, like it depends on what side of the island you're staying on. If you're on the west side where I am, Royal Lahaina, they have a huge stadium and they have 11 courts, a stadium court, 10. They have a swimming pool there. They got a pro shop there. We have pickleball. Also, if you go down the road to Kapalua, they have 10-court facility. They have a pro shop. They have pickleball courts. You know, they have a big TV screen there. I mean, each resort, and they're situated in resort areas. If you go to the south side where I actually live, there is Kihei. We have our, you know, parks courts, and then we have really Wailea is the biggest one with 11 courts, and they have a stadium court as well. And they have pickleball, and they have a pro shop, and they have a restaurant above it. Each site is special in its own way. They're all beautiful. They all have very active programs and professionals, and really great programs for all ages, juniors to adults, you know, to adult beginners, and clinics. Every site has clinics. Then you have the Maui Country Club in Paia, and that's closer to upcountry when you're on your way upcountry. Beautiful facility, 6 courts, and they have a swimming pool, and they have an area for volleyball. They're right next to the beach. They have other activities going on. They do some pickleball. They have a junior program. So, you know, just highlighting some of those. And then the public courts have different pros that are on and off. I know that Barb Wallace and Trish Wilstead have South Maui Tennis. And so they're really busy down at the Kalama courts, and there are 4 courts there that line up right to the ocean and the walking area there, and they're in a park, and they have a little area where they, you know, there's bleachers and stuff like that, and there's, you know, courts all over the island that are more park and rec. We host sectional, you know, competitions from leagues. We're very huge in league play, and also along with hosting like challengers, like I've hosted 2 of those, and then the events that I work with pros, you know, that's a huge thing with my events. And Ron Romano always thinks of us, always tries to bring events over, and he knows that I've worked with a lot of events. He knows that Royal Lahaina's worked with a lot of events, particularly because they have such a huge stadium court. We just had the Legends Tour last year, and we were gonna have them again this year, but then things got kind of crazy, so we couldn't do it again. I think Maui is just, we have a great team with the MDTA and with volunteers. So we're able to host events and do really fun things for the community.
I remember I went to the high school state tournament one year to coach a kid from Castle, and it was at Wailea. And the one thing I remember about tennis over there was when we were at Wailea to watch, I think it was the semifinals or the second day, and you could see one of the other Hawaiian islands from your vantage point watching tennis on the center court at Wailea. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, you could see Molokai in the background. And I thought that was the coolest thing.
I know, when you could see, like, Ko'olave and, Molokini, and it's, West Maui Mountains, and it's the view there is incredible. And then when I'm on the other side section, and then you're at Royal Lahaina on that side, that's where you're going to see Molokai and Lanai. And it's just like, you've got to be kidding me with this. I feel a lot of gratitude for being able to do what I love in a place that is so beautiful, and with such a great community, and very supportive people and supportive parents, and the resorts are so supportive. And I feel very fortunate to be at Royal Lahaina, because the Royal Lahaina Resort, working with Tom Bell and his people, they are so supportive in tennis and love tennis so much. And Cynthia and John Moynier are amazing to work for, and working with Kaz and Jean. And it's just been, they're great professionals, great people, and very organized. And I'm just very appreciative of that opportunity.
Thank you for what you do out there in the fields, and just, getting tennis out there, and just being such, I can already tell it's probably just an honor for any student to even work with you, which, guys,
that is so nice. No, it's just, thank you for that, Shane. You're very kind. I think that any kid, any adult, anybody walking by is going to see somebody's passion. And if they really love it, you're going to see it. And you can also tell when somebody really doesn't. And I love watching other pros teach wherever I travel. I always take my rackets because I always want to play. And I actually teach at different clubs when I'm on the road. I love teaching at Indian Wells, like when I go to the Indian Wells tournament, I teach there. And when I go back home to the East Coast, William and Mary College, I always go and hang out there because my parents are in Williamsburg now. And I have friends there, fellow coaches, and I teach. I'll go in and help with the junior program. And it's just my pleasure. It's not for financial. It's for, I just want to help, when I'm on the other coast, the West Coast, it's both. I'm there for the BNP tournament. I'm there to pay for my trip, really, and to get a chance to work with some really cool people. For me, I love getting out there and watching other people teach, and being a part of their programs and helping them with whatever, any way I can. Because I'm at a point in my career, and I realize that, where I love sharing. Like, if you want to pick my brain about something, if I can help you, you don't have to worry about me. I don't want your job. I just want to,
sure.
How can I help you? I'm totally happy with where I'm at.
Right on. Heart of gold, and willing to share, and always willing to learn, guys. That is Coach Cathy. That leads me into the last segment I had for you on this interview, which is my Q&A. And, I ask all my guests, 3 questions that I think it should be, just is up for debate, and just, we want to hear your perspective. And the first question I have for you, what are your thoughts on American tennis right now?
Another great question. Talking with Tom Gullikson and over the years, and then having discussions with like Jose Higueras, like, these are guys that would bring, that were coaching all our top American players, men players, on the tour through the challengers I've hosted. And, when I sat down and was talking with them about it, and then getting a chance recently, because we had the Legends Tour, I got a chance to drive Tommy Haas to the airport after he played. And that was like, talk about a chance. Like, I have you for an hour in my car. So yay.
Sure.
Getting a chance to talk with some kind of key players and people that, just left the tour, and others that were coaching all of our top American boys on the tour. Basically, the biggest thing was, obviously funding, getting the funding, but they go, the college tennis is really tough because you're competing for a spot on a team against people from another country. And it's not that these coaches are anti having people from other countries come and play. The problem is their spots are being taken on teams. So American players don't have as the experience maybe they wanted to have, because they're competing against people that are being recruited from other countries so that they can win their titles. And all I kept hearing about that is if they could just have a different percentage of, foreign junior players to American junior players. And Chris Everett felt the same way, like John Everett, those guys feel the same way in terms of their academy. They really want to promote women, American women's and American men tennis. They really want to work so hard in helping our players financially, and to be able to maintain a career on tour, because it's hard. USTA is helping out all these players because these players can't afford a coach. They can't afford them. And that's where the USTA comes in and helps with these coaches being there to, and paying the coaches to help these players that can't afford it. So part of it is financial, and part of it is getting the opportunity to even represent your school, so that you can be put on the radar, and then trying to put more money into these futures tournaments and really try to do something better with the way that these guys are grinding it out, just trying to get into major, get enough points to get into these like futures and challengers, and get enough points to get into a regular tournament. It's pretty grinding on their bodies, on their emotions, and it's an economical drain. These kids are not making money very much at all, if any. So, and sponsorships, they look at it from an organizational thing like USTA, USPTA, all of us. How can we help the American players with all those categories? And that is in the works, and that's why they keep revamping different programs and everything, because they're really trying to find the best formula to help everybody along better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard some stories from local players. I'm not gonna name names, but like guys who have tried stuff like that in the past, and they say it's hard financially. Of course, it's a lifelong dream that they go and achieve, but to sustain it is tough. And it's cool to hear that support is on the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, here's an example. Gully told me this. We were having dinner, and he told me a story about Sam Querrey when he was coaching Sam. And he just said, you know how Querrey is. He's either hot or cold. And he's having dinner with Sam Querrey, and he's trying to get in there with, like, why does Sam keep tanking his matches? Like, he'll get so far, and then you can see it coming. And if you watch Querrey, and I've asked Querrey to do several of my events because I think he's an interesting guy, but it's like he gets so far, and then he stops believing that he can do it. And so Gully asked him straight on, Sam, like, what goes through your mind when, it's clear you're winning a match, like you're winning and you've got it and you're in control. And then all of a sudden you can see it in the body language. It's like something and you become a different person. And then you accept defeat. You just accept it as part of this match that you just played. And Querrey welled up, and he goes, Coach, I don't believe in myself. And once you've got somebody that says that, then you can try to get in there as to why. Because he does perform well. Like, he'll do real well. He'll get to some quarters, some semis, and then all of a sudden it's like, but he's done better. But it's like, there's really something in him that kept him from winning bigger tournaments, because he had all the tools. He has a lot of stuff. Yeah, he needed to work on certain things, but this is what held him back. But the one thing Gully told me that I'll never forget, and I see it in all my junior players, he goes, Kath, particularly women players, he goes, you don't know who's showing up on any given day when you coach somebody, like Coco Vandeweghe, when he was coaching Coco, he
Mm.
goes, you don't know what version of Coco's showing up, you know? And he goes, is it the Coco that's ready to go and really excited to be there? Is it the Coco that's volatile, antsy, kind of, you know, pent up, on edge? Is it the Coco that's depressed, down, on, you know, you don't know who you're getting. And I know that because I work with, now that I'm working with so many more juniors, it's the same thing. Did you have a bad day at school? Did you have an argument with your boyfriend or girlfriend or family? Or what, you know? And then you listen, but in all honesty, after a point, I don't care. Just tell me what happened. Let's move forward and let's see if I can get one of those personalities that I really, really like to perform for me today.
Oh man, you put
You know what I
into
mean?
words what I experience on the court as well. Sometimes it's a mystery, and it kind of makes it exciting too to go to the court, because like, how's today gonna go? Even though like
Yeah,
you're the same kid like 3 times a week. So
me too.
that's cool.
I was going with one 6 times a week, and until this happened. And so I know everything. I can see it coming before she even gets there with her body language. I get it. And so I start talking to her because I go, all right, I see the version that's showing up. How can I get this version to perform? I'm onto her. And she hates it. But I got, you know, like after a while, you're like, and then you got to figure out, do I have the energy to figure this out today? Maybe I don't. Maybe it's been too many hours of lessons and I just don't care. You know, like just give me the version. I'll deal with it the best I can.
I feel you, Kathy. I mean, we're human too, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
we're along.
But it is laughable. You got to laugh sometimes. You just got to go, you know, like I'll listen to a kid say something once. I had a little boy come up to me and we're playing the first 10 and under tournament at Royal Lahaina, right? And he comes up and he's like, coach. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you playing for money? I go, you're 7. You're 7.
Oh man.
Get a grip. You're 7 years old. And then the other one, the best one was the same family, but it was the daughter. The parents are like, oh my God, this is great. And this little girl is warming. She's just warming up. And I'm hearing this as I'm walking by. And they're like, oh, Coach Kathy, this is so cool. God, I wish I'd play tennis like this one. Look, they're like applauding this little girl, right? And meanwhile, she walks up to mom and dad and she goes, Mom, Dad, I'm warming up. Like, I'm not even playing yet. Like, calm down.
Oh man, junior.
And I walk away and
Oh.
I am losing it. I go, you know, for a little kid to walk up to their parents, go, Mom, Dad, can you stop applauding? I'm just warming up.
That's gold. That is so cool.
Isn't it the best?
Oh, it's great. What is one thing that you've learned out of your coaching journey that you're like, wow, like that's cool? Like, what's the biggest thing you've learned on your coaching journey? USPTA, pro tennis, juniors. What would that be?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Mm.
And what I mean by that is look for the cues. Look for the cues. Particularly, I think I've learned that more. I think the junior program, they don't even realize how much they're giving me. You know, whether it's it's adults, it's body language, it's being sensitive to what somebody is saying they need, and then what they're showing you they need. And taking those little mini breaks to get a drink of water is more than getting a drink of water. It's getting to know that person and really kind of paying attention to what sometimes they're not saying. And I've just learned a lot about human nature, and whether they're a kid, little, big kid, juniors, whether they're, variations of adulthood, how to motivate on so many different levels comes from paying attention to what they're saying, how they're performing, their body language, their eye contact, like all of it. And that gets me everywhere, because I will feed a ball to somebody, or I'll be doing live ball, or I'll be doing hitting with them, or I'm doing, just feeding balls or dropping balls, whatever I'm doing. I'm paying attention, not just to the result and to how they set up, you got to pay attention to not just the kinetic chain, all that. It's like how a person sees, like, is setting up for something is one thing, but how they see it, how they feel it, how they, like, it's not just technical and analytical. It's also about feeling
Mm,
and how they feel about themselves. I don't care if my feet hurt because I've been on the court and I didn't change my shoes quick enough. Had to jump on court. Whatever's going on for me doesn't matter. They're paying me for an hour time or an hour and a half or whatever it is. Every single minute matters.
mm.
You don't waste time. You pay attention. You're there for them. And being on your cell phone, doing any of that stuff, the only time I go to my cell phone is if I know I have parents that are older, and if I'm expecting a call, that's the only time I say, you guys, one of my parents is going in for whatever, I need to be available. That's it. Other than that, my phone's out there because I may want to videotape,
Mm.
or my mini pad. So I'm yours for that amount of time. You hired a professional. That's what you're going to get. You're not hiring somebody that cares more about their phone, more about the people watching them teach. Be present.
If you had to give a piece of advice to a junior player out there who's coming up, whether they know which way they're going with tennis or they're brand new to the sport, if you had to give them one tip, what would you give them on their tennis journey?
Surround yourself with people that sincerely care about your journey.
Mm,
I found that to be true when I went off to school, and I could see the ones that weren't, and I could see the ones that were, and that their motivation is pure, is right. Some people are wired really differently, and I think that the one thing that matters to me about myself is loyalty. And I mean, being a loyal person, being somebody that obviously cares about other people's journeys, um and that I want to, and I've done that. I feel like I've done that with kids that have gone on to college, and they feel like they could call me up when they were like, coach, I don't know if I can do this. I've
mm,
worked so hard and I've trained so hard. My parents paid so much money for this. And I'm like, right. I'm less, I'm right underneath the traveling team. I'm right there. And I'm like, but it's so much pressure. And, you get all these questions, and it's like, it's surrounding yourself with the right people
mm,
is critical, and building a team for your kid. It's like, or for yourself, it's like, I have my team of people around me helping me to stay healthy, to be able to go out there. I call them Team Cathy, but it's like, yeah, I've got my PT, I got my massage therapist, I got, whoever it is, but you have your team of people that you trust and know can help you to go in the direction you want to go in. It's like your team, it's your people. And I feel like when a parent takes me on and says, my child wants to play college tennis, and I have that going on right now, I've got a couple of them. And if you're taking on a couple that you're working really hard to achieve a goal, and they were like, well, I want them to go to Stanford and everything, and to have a talk with somebody and go, they're not going to Stanford. You're late to the game. Your person is this old and you want to go to Stanford? No. But let me tell you what I know I can do. And being honest with what because I've been there before, because we've, as coaches, different coaches have been there. We know how to, the prereqs for a Division I, Division II, Division III, and we know the dedication, we know the amount of time you need, the matches, everything.
mm.
So you've got to be honest with it. But when I commit to something, and other coaches I'm sure do this, you really got to be forthtelling about,
Hmm.
I'm a coach that's going to be part of your journey. I'm going to help you, and I'm going to be on your team to help you and your parents. It's going to be your parents. It's going to be me. We're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about what you eat. We're going to talk about all of it. Like, this is, you're serious. If your parents are going to spend money and time, and you're going to spend time and energy away from your friends and away from certain things you could be doing to play tennis, because this is your life, you got to feel like people have your back and that you have a team around you. So I would say that.
That's so cool, Kathy, how you bring that up, that, even though tennis is an individual sport, the team around you that you surround yourself with, that family, that tennis ohana, is so special and so important in a junior's upbringing.
I believe it. It's just like adults, like hanging out with my friends. I mean, I love my friends because they tell it like it is. Like if something's not going down that they don't like or whatever, they're gonna say it. And I appreciate my friends. I appreciate them, and I appreciate obviously all juniors, family members. It's like they're part of Team Cathy, and if it's relatable in my own life, then I can relate it to you know to how important it was when I went away to school and surrounding myself with coaches and professors and fellow students and, family, etc. It was all part of it because you think you can do it on your own and you want to be independent, which is great, but you still need to create that sense of team wherever you go with whoever you're with, and a sense of family in a way. You're an extended family. And I know that I trust my family because they have my best interest at heart. And I trust my circle of friends because they have my best interest at heart. And I want to be the best friend, coach, daughter, whatever I can possibly be. Yeah, I'm going to mess up along the way and I'm going to make mistakes, but that's how we learn. Confidence is the feeling you have before you understand the situation sometimes. I just try to go in there as confident as I can. I may not always understand, everything about it, but I'm going to walk in that door as confident as I can be. And if there's something I don't know, I'll hopefully figure it out.
Is there anything you would like to say to the Hawaii tennis community?
Just hang in there, guys. I know that this is tough times. I'm not going to, pretend that it isn't. And moving forward, it's going to be a process. For some of our clients will be right there, but everybody's going through economical pressures and problems and having to deal with all sorts of maybe medical issues and having to postpone certain procedures, and there's going to be a lot going on around us, and I think we just got to approach it day to day. And it's going to take time for unemployment to catch up. It's going to take time for the government with their checks to catch up. It's going to take time for people to get with the new system and understand how that it relates to them. But just give yourself this time before we jump on court to start getting out there and getting all the things that you're going to need for your cart. All of your new teaching things, like you got to have your extra masks and your hand sanitizer and a glove and some antiseptic spray, and just kind of have an idea in your head of how you want to set your court up, and just, communicate with your clubs and everything as to what the guidelines are going to be now, or the resort that you work at. Just make sure you're familiar with the USTA, rules, and, our liability insurance is USPTA pros. We have to, just be careful out there, just be aware. And, we've done really, really great in the Hawaiian Islands, keeping our cases down. And, I'm very optimistic about our future as pros out there and as people. And let's give people, tennis is positive. Tennis is uplifting. People need tennis. People need to hit a ball right now. Okay. So let's go out there and have fun and really, be the ambassadors, of our sport right now. And just go day to day. We can do this, you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me, email me, email anyone on the board. We would love to help you.
Cathy, thank you for joining us today on TV. Guys, if you want to hook up with Cathy, you heard her. I'll list her contacts down here in the description below when that comes out.
Thank you. And remember grants. Remember grants on the USTA site. Please, there's money there. Tap into that money for your facility, okay? Do it.
There you go. Check in on those resources, guys. Cathy's there, and I'll see if I can find links as well to include for that too. Guys, thank you for tuning in today to Tennis Ninja TV with my special guest, Cathy Nicoloff. Again, guys, if you want to hook up with her, you can check her out, the Royal Lahaina or Kapalua tennis clubs out in Maui, a beautiful island of Maui, I may add. And guys, there will be many more interviews to come. Well, hopefully you heard right there. We're going to get possibly back on the court real soon. Hang in there, be patient, guys, and thank you for tuning in. Again, we're just trying to put smiles on your guys' faces in this time. Guys, be safe, God bless, and aloha. See you later, Tennis Ninja fans.